Hey everyone, Brandon Palaniuk here, and we're going to talk about the underspin. I mean, you may be asking, or you may already know what an underspin is, but to get into it, it is exactly what it sounds like. It is a jig head with a little spinnerbait blade underneath the jig head, which makes it the underspin, right? So we have this spinning blade. It is attached with a barrel swivel, so you can see a little bit of wind causing that blade to spin. That is exactly what it's going to do underwater. It's going to spin just like that, but it's going to be parallel with the bait as it's moving through the water column. Typically, you've got a little bit of an arm that comes down off that jig head that pushes that blade down away from the bait. So here's one without a bait on it. Now you can run several different types of baits on these. Most of the time they're going to have a 90-degree line tie. They come in different shapes and sizes and weights. You want to match those up to the bait that you're fishing and the depth that you're fishing. So general rule of thumb, the deeper I go or the deeper I want that bait to stay, the heavier the underspin I'm going to go. That applies with any jig head. And then the shallower that I want to fish that bait or higher up in the water column, I'll go with a lighter underspin. So different baits. What do we choose? How do we select them? Really, there's just two styles of baits that I throw. Either just a straight minnow style bait like this hot shot minnow, or you can go with a paddle tail swim bait style like this mini swammer. And obviously you can upgrade the size of the bait depending on where you're fishing or the time of year. Generally, when I'm fishing an underspin, a lot of times it's early in the year, those fish are suspended, they're chasing a lot of smaller bait. That's usually when I reach for the underspin, or where it seems to shine the best. It doesn't mean that you can't catch them in other situations. You can catch them in the summer on it. But it seems like early in those, fishing season, early in the months, it's a bait that I reach for. I've always got it tied on. Rigging this bait, very simple. You just want to make sure that it is very straight. Just like anything we rig on a jig head, you want to make sure it is very, very straight. So we're going to go right through the nose of this bait. We're going to continue to push through that bait and kind of watch as that bait starts to roll up over that hook point, or that shaft of that hook. We're going to push through the back of the bait, and we're going to just continue to push this and work it up onto, right up against that jig head, so we have a nice straight profile. It is very important that this bait doesn't have a big bow in it, that it's not crooked. If you're looking at it this way, you want to make sure that it's not bowed off to the side, because you want this blade to spin vertically underneath. If it's crooked, that bait may want to run to the side either direction, and it's just not going to look as natural. You're not going to get as many bites. But very simple technique to use. If you've thrown a spinner bait or any type of spinner, very similar to that, right? I'm going to cast it down, I'm going to let it sink down to the depth that those fish are at, and then I'm just going to slow wind it. Generally, I'm throwing this either on a spinning rod, or if I'm throwing it on a bait caster, I throw it on pretty light line, 10-pound fluorocarbon. It's going to help keep that bait down, 6.3 to 1 gear ratio reel, and you're just crawling it, right? And that blade is doing the work. When those fish are real finicky, they want something real subtle, go with the straight tail. If they want something a little bit more aggressive, maybe a little bit dirtier water, you can go with more of the paddle tail swim bait. That's going to add a little bit of action in there. Just make sure that it's not too much where it's kicking that blade around and wanting to throw it off center. But super fun way to catch bass. Very versatile technique. Like I said, mostly early in the year, but you can fish it when it's warm, sunny, later. Those fish get out around brush piles and ledges. Just make sure that you're selecting the right bait, the right jig head and size to the situation, so that you have the most success while you're out there on the water. If you want more details, more tips and tricks, make sure you check out MidwayUSA.com.